A very good morning to you on this 4th day of December, with 26 days to go to Christmas. If you've joined us, you have joined the Fifth Connection, a channel on which we are given to talking you through the storyline of the scriptures. And this morning we are in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse number 27. We are looking at the war frame in the book of Ephesians that is climaxed in chapter 6, verse 10 to 24, but it started really from chapter 1, verse 1. We pick up in chapter 4, verse number 1 of the storyline, where in this section of the text, the writer is highlighting the prompts for the believing community. Chapter 1, 2, and 3, the plan. Chapter 4, 5, and 6, the prompts, what that assembly is to be doing. So in 1, 2, and 3, you have the plans are enfolded in the prompts, and the prompts are unfolded in the plan. That's how these 6 chapters hang together. We sometimes draw such a strong line between a line of division between what we have called doctrine and duty. But really, theory can never be cut away from practice, and vice versa. It is theory-laden practice and practice-laden theory. So 1, 2, and 3 is about the theory that is loaded with practice. And 4, 5, and 6 is about theory, about practice that is loaded with theory. So it's vice versa, but they are interlocked. They are interactive sections. One cannot go without the other. This morning we are looking at chapter 5, verse 27. But starting in verse 25, I'm going to read 25 to 33 because there are 8 verse lines of the story that are given to the responsibility of the men, while only 3 go to the wives. I may say, oh, there's no big deal. Well, in this section of the text of the storyline, the weight is heavily on the male responsibility. Not that the female responsibility doesn't count, but just in case you feel very marginalized because of your responsibility under the 10-letter word, which is submission, in chapter 5 and verse 22 and verse number 24. Watch the husband's responsibility through 8 verse lines. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word, so that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle, or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church, because we are members of his body. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. This mystery is profound, and I'm saying that it refers to Christ and the church. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. You have Paul bouncing you between Christ and the church. Christ is the example for the assembly. But incidentally, the husband is the head of the wife, and she submits to his authority the way Christ submits to, the church submits to Christ. And so 4 times in this paragraph, yes, 4 times, The husband is called to love the wife, not just once. The first time it appears, it's in the imperatival mood, the command mood. Love your wives, husbands. It's God's command. Now, inside of that, he's going to unfold how the husband achieves loving his wife. And as I suggested to you, it's the picture of the cross. It is about dying into life, not getting colored by a DYE dye, but dying into life, learning to get severed from your ego attachments, your money, your prestige, your position, your job, your car, your kids, and all that goes with it. And rather view those attachments as bridges across which you walk in order to serve and be of service to your job, your husband, your wife, your children, your possession, and all that you have. 4 times the emphasis is on love. And of course, for the wife, in the previous verses, her submission command is in verse 22. And twice after that, she is challenged to submit as she submits to Christ. Verse 24, submit to Christ in the same way you submit to your husband's authority. The husband achieves that through orienting his wife, discipling his wife, nurturing her, cherishing her, loving her. There it is. Because it's that which transforms. It orients her. How does God orient his church? How does God, through Christ, orient the assembly? By the washing of the water with the word. It's the scriptures. The script orients the assembly to life and living inside of what is really real. And so the husband has a differentially transforming effect upon his wife as he lives out the scriptures, as he utilizes the scriptures to orient himself to the flow of reality and helps orient her in the marriage to the flow of marital life, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of water with the word. Oh, yes, but that is Christ. But, oh, yes, that is also the husband functionally affording his wife choices so that she can differentially transform. So verse 25 is about affordance of choice. That's 25. 26 is about transformation. And now 27 is about presentation. So that, why does he need to orient her with the word or by the word through the instrumentality of the word? Why does Christ orient his church through the instrumentality of the scriptures? Verse 25. So that, here's the goal, the pressing goal. So that he might present the church to himself in splendor, without spot or wrinkle, or any such thing, that she might be holy and without blemish. Men, husbands, do you remember the day when you had your wife on your arm, when you couldn't wait for opportunities to show the world the new lady? She became the crown of wherever you appeared on the horizon. She was the light of your life. What has happened? Christ has the church at his arm. He has the assembly at his arm to present the church to himself in splendor. But oh yes, you say that's only in the future because the church is imperfect. Oh yes, it is all that because the church, the assembly will learn to fail its way toward success. You as a husband will learn to fail toward becoming successful in your marriage. This is not the kind of message and orientation that will get you to Jesus jump. It will stun you to silence in 11 official languages. in the South African context. But the goal should be to present her in splendor, spotless, no wrinkles. Oh, the wrinkles will come. Or you may say, as a wife, the wrinkles have come and they're here to stay. Or any such thing that she might be set apart without blemish, no kinks. Because the purpose of this presentation, men, as you man up, remember this section is about manning up, affording her choice, allowing her to be what God has called her to be. If you look at the graphic, if you have your digital platform open in front of you, you will notice that in chapter 4 and chapter 5, especially in chapter 5, the war frame is set because the family is part of that war frame. It's part of the beachhead, the battle formation. Marriage is that. Family is that. My vocation is that. You need to get this. God doesn't call you onto a playground, but onto a battleground. And the guardrails for us as the assembly is we need to walk worthy in love, in light, and in wisdom. Walk with the highest values, humility, gentleness, with the 7 postures, the 7 unities. Oh, big, long, 234-point doctrinal statement of what we believe. But we live out the unities of who God in Christ by the Spirit is. That's what it means to walk worthy with the highest values. Then you need to walk in love. And on top of that, in light, as one who's wake up. Some husbands are fast asleep. They've taken soporifics. They've taken a sleeping pill the day they said, I do, and are dead to what is happening in their marriage. And on top of that, they need to walk in wisdom with high skill, being able to navigate knowledgeably and favorably inside of the context of the assembly. Why does the husband need to be given to orienting his wife by means of the scriptures? Well, here's the purpose in verse 27. For the purpose of presenting the assembly. Yes, she's part of that. Presenting the assembly to himself, who is Christ, in the presence, pure, that she might be whole without kinks. You may say, oh man, my wife has got a grocery list of kinks and things that are wrong. What about you? I wonder if you escape that. The purpose is presenting her as a choice bride. But oh, look, the bridal dress is full of blood because they are constantly fighting. And this bloodied bride is the one that you are presenting to Christ. Well, just think and think again. It's a beautiful song written by an erstwhile composer from the believing community. Says, it seems I always loved you. It seems I've always loved you. And we talk about loving each other to death. Well, the Lord will take you up on that. Are you willing to die today? You're heading into the big days. Things need to be done. Walls need to be painted. Everything else that goes with the excitement of this, the festivities of the season. Are you dying into life? Are you living for her to present her as a choice bride? What a challenge. What a sobering challenge, because as we grow older together, we can so easily lose sight of why God brought us together in the first place. And maybe your sight has been dimmed because you've lost the plot long ago and you've fallen. You've not just fallen out of life, you've crashed out of it. And you've become a casualty on the pavement, wounded and bleeding as a husband. Well, get with God. Come to him with your brokenness, your inadequacy, your inability to do what He's called you to. You're going to go into this day with high opportunities again in this season to be what He's called you to be. How about making some choices? I would want to put a smile on her face because of how I live with high affordance of choice, giving her the freedom to be who she really is, not to be you. She's not to be a carbon copy of you. God forbid. She was born an original. Don't let her die a copy of you. This inadequate you. This disabled you. This paralyzed you. The one who's walking in his sleep. Well, the challenges are there. I trust that as you go with God this day, you'd be deeply mindful of who He is, who you are, and whose we are as we go into this season of celebration. God bless you as you enjoy Him today. Goodbye for now.